I'm going to show you guys how to use Canvas really quickly and easily. You can see that I'm already enrolled in classes and I have some unpublished classes. You need to publish things. You can also see that there's a to-do list of assignments that I've already created for students. So how do I start a new class? That's a good question. There is a way to start a new class. I should know this. Oh, here we go. Start a new course. I just need to scroll down a little bit. So you can start a new course here. I'm not going to click that, but you will get something that comes up that's basically blank. I'm going to click on my copy attempt for English 10 because I want to make sure I could copy stuff. So this is called English 10, and it includes the FUSD background and some things that I pulled from a previous Canvas course, and I was just kind of playing around with this. If I want to edit this, I can use this text box like I would do for most emails. I can include a picture, so I click where I want, which I can click there, and I can insert a picture here. I can upload an image or use a course image. I can also an external link or a course link. A course link could be any of those hyperlinked things on the left, or it could be a page that I've created. You can also do external links and just type them in. You can embed media and upload media. So those are all really handy things. I'm going to click Save. How do you do things in Canvas? Those are good questions. If you go to Modules, usually it'll come up empty. Modules are kind of like the topics in Google Classroom. So you click the Add a Module, and you can name it. And there are pretty cool things you can do. Now, if this is your first module, it's not going to give you many options, but you can lock it until a certain date. So let's say you want students to start a unit in October and you're prepping it in August. You can say lock until October 1st and they can't see it, which is pretty great because then you don't worry about kids getting ahead and then you have to create alternate assignments for them. You can also create prerequisites like teacher module 1 or do not publish. So they might need to finish that module before they are able to open this one. So that's another option. Looks like I already have that published. So these are actually modules that someone else created. I'm going to go back to my dashboard and I'm going to go into the class that I'm currently working with because that's a little bit easier for me. You can set what your homepage is going to be. But let's go back to modules first. So I have a useful resources module, and if you see anything that you want to use just so that you have access to it on your Canvas, please let me know and I can send that to you. You can move modules around by clicking this little thing right here. If you click this triangle, it will collapse it or expand it. If you click the plus sign, you can add things to this module or to any module. So you can add any of these things. I recommend doing an assignment, a quiz, or a page personally because, well, that's just how my mind works. You can do whatever you want. But you can click new assignment and you can type it in. What I tend to do for my modules is I don't indent for the pages of information and I indent one level for an assignment. That's what I do. And you can see that these are already the assignments that I have made. So I can click any of those. I'm not going to actually add anything right now. These three dots on the right are pretty cool. And so we can move the module this way. So we can put it at the top or before or after something. Cancel that. So that's one thing you can do. You can edit the module, which is useful resources. Again, you can add prerequisites and requirements. You can delete it, and you can move the contents. But I think it's easier to move the contents by simply sliding like that. I'm going to show you how I used the prerequisites. You can see prerequisites is here. Another thing is you can publish it simply by clicking that. Again, you can add assignments. So all of these are published, you can tell because they have the green check mark, and if you hover over it, gives you the option to unpublish it, meaning students will not have access to it. But there's other ways that students won't have access as well. So if I click here, there's an edit. I added requirements because there's certain things that I want my students to do, and I think this is a huge benefit to Canvas that Google Classroom doesn't have, is you can make your students complete certain things before they're able to move on to the next item. So in order for students to go to the next module, they need to get their syllabus signed. They also need to complete the pretest and the major comic book assignment. They just need to do it. Otherwise, they won't be able to go on because those are major assignments and I really want my students to do them. And then if you go to my Persepolis unit, if I click edit, you can see that I have a prerequisite that they need to do boot camp first. You can see that I also have it locked until September 1st. So I'm going to click on the Superhero Bootcamp M post test. I use like the little M for modified so that I can tell that I've differentiated for students. If I click edit here, I can type my directions in. Canvas gives you multiple ways to upload things, and so students get really anxious when they're not sure how to upload something. And so since this is a Google form, which I've hyperlinked right here, which I just typed post test, I highlighted it, and I went to this link and did a link. But I just tell them they don't need to do anything or include anything. It has the points, the assignment group, submission online with a URL. They can have 2 attempts, so I can also limit how many attempts. Text entry means that just a text box is going to come up and they're going to type or copy and paste their answer in. A website, and you can collect multiple options. A website URL is how they're doing it for me. It's a Google form. Media recordings. You can have students record a video or an audio and have them submit there. So if it's an essay and you want to differentiate for students and you don't want them to have to type it, you can just have them speak it. Or they can upload files, and you can also limit what types of files that they upload. And you can select multiple. You can make it a group assignment and have peer reviews. You can also assign it to certain students. And I'm just assigning this to my students with IEPs and 504s. What's nice is you just type in their names. Here's the thing that is too bad in Canvas compared to Google Classroom, and I've already contacted Canvas about it, is I don't want these students to see the regular pre-test or post-test because I don't want them to think that they have to do 2. But Canvas makes you type in every student's name individually rather than having all the names selected like in Google Classroom, and then you just unselect the few that don't need to do the assignment. It should be a really quick fix in terms of computer programming, so I really hope that Canvas changes that because that is a huge problem because it takes quite a while to type students' names in and to make sure you didn't miss anyone, and the worst thing is to have a student taking a test and not have access to it. So again, you can say what the due date is, and I let it be available a little bit before and a little bit after. Once this until date is over, this will be blocked and no one can take it. You can also notify people that content has changed. I always like to go back to modules to see what's going on, but you can also go back to pages. So any of these on the left you can choose from. My welcome page I made as my first page. However, you need to make multiple pages and publish them before you can choose a home page. So these are all the pages that I've made, and they function exactly the same as um, creating an assignment. You need to hyperlink it and stuff and click publish. So you make multiple pages. You can add pages here. I prefer to make them in modules personally, but you don't have to. And then if you click the three dots on the right, you can choose to use one of these as the front page. In order to do that, the page has to be published and you have to have more than one page. There's a few things that Canvas recommends for your front page. For a lot of college courses, they recommend that you use the syllabus. You can also do modules or announcements. Right now, my homepage has a lot of important information, which I'll go back here. And so I prefer to start here. Later on in the semester, I might have my announcements page be the front page, and you can change that too. You can see that I have announcements already set. You can add an announcement here. And this is kind of what I use for what I used for my Google Classroom stream. I'm doing it week by week. I include the Zoom information for how to get to my class. I include hyperlinks of the assignments that students are doing and the dates. This one's not super organized because it was the first week and I didn't realize some of the issues that students would have. So for next weekend, students don't have access to this because it's delayed. But for week 2, you can see the Zoom information, which is the same as my first week, but attendance form, which is a Google Doc, and you can see I have listed 1 to 3 things that they need to do every day. And so hopefully this is super easy for students to use. So if they don't feel comfortable with modules or assignments or anything like that, I just have it all in announcements. So I am worried about my students not finding things. And discussions. This is like the question topic in Google Classroom. I have one getting to know you, which I need to look over. But you can add a discussion and have a topic, have a question. You can allow threaded replies, just select all these things, and again, make it available from a date until a certain date. One thing that I've seen in my research for Canvas is the ABC method for discussions. So I would Google that because I think it's a really good way to show students how to have a good discussion. I'm going to cancel this one. So another option is the syllabus. I just copied and pasted the syllabus into Canvas. Canvas does not recommend that you just hyperlink Google Slides or PDFs into the assignment page. They want you to copy and paste all the information into a page because it's more user-friendly and accessible for students who might have disabilities, or it's just easier for them to access. Because I didn't have that much time to prep for online learning and switch to Canvas, I'm not able to do that this year. But I did copy and paste my syllabus in, and it's pretty long. Sorry, guys. But you can also see at the bottom of the syllabus, all of my assignments that I've already made are also right here. So for college courses, I think that's what a lot of professors do for their front page, is they include the syllabus on the front page because students can scroll down and see all of the assignments, which is pretty handy. Sorry if that made you sick or dizzy. You can see that we have access to Google Drive. I did not connect my Google Drive because Canvas has the power to delete things from the drive, and that totally freaked me out, so I didn't want to give it permission. Zoom is now available as well. I have not gone into that. I'm going to show you guys settings. This is where you can change your image for the front of the course, and I really liked this one because I always enjoy looking over our campus when I'm driving on Cedar. But you can choose and remove image here, which is pretty cool. You can name it, have the time zone, always Arizona for us, when it starts and when it ends, which the district automatically did that. and you have all these settings. I'm saying it's private and copyrighted personally. You can also do a grading scheme, so you can view grading schemes and you can select other ones. I know CCC has this grading scheme, or no, they have a different one. But anyhow, so you can select those, choose visibility, etc., and you can update it. So let's say I really like this course and I want to use it next year. You can export this course content and that can save to your desktop. That's another thing that's really useful. They recommend backing it up in case something happens. You also have student view, which is quite handy, and this purple thing will come, or magenta, will come up on the bottom and you can see. So now for my announcements, you can see they only have access to week 1. For modules, they only have access to boot camp. They see everything that's coming, but you can see that summarizing is locked. And so this is a way that you can see what are my students actually saying. You can also access people and you can make groups. So these are students that I have, and this is another way that I double check attendance is I see, did they go to my Canvas page on this day? So even if they weren't on my Zoom, I can see, okay, she was on my Canvas page at this time for this amount of minutes. Since she was interacting, I'm going to give her attendance. So this is something I check at the end of the day. Let's say a student is new to school and isn't in your Canvas. Even though Canvas is supposed to update and sync with Synergy every day, I guess sometimes there's a mistake. So you can add people by email address, which would be their student ID at fusd1.org. Let's say I want to add a co-teacher, and I wanted to do this with Jim and Paige, but I'm going to go ahead and add Donna Lyons because she's DE, even though this is an English 10. So I'm going to do D Lyons at fusd1.org. I want her to be a teacher, and you can only select one section at a time, but I'm not going to select that. Then if I click next, it'll give me the option of having her and she'll receive an invite. But you can do this with students as well. I feel like there was another way to make things a home page. I always get mixed up here. The good thing about it is if you want to make the syllabus your home page, you can click this arrow out and you can see the syllabus or the Canvas guides, which are super useful. And they have videos, which are much better than this one. Settings again. Oh yeah, there's more. Okay, so we just did the course details. There's also sections, so you can see I have 3 sections. Navigation. I can choose to reorder things that are navigated, and I can also hide things from view. So I can take new analytics and I can say I want to disable this page, or course outcomes, and disable it. So I can drag and drop those things. And yeah. Apps, there are external apps that you can add. I don't know what these are. I think this is a science one if I recall correctly. Anyhow, I'm not going to add those. And here are some other things that you can configure, which I have not played with yet. But I know there's different ways to make home pages. And you also have access to files here that you've uploaded. So I have audios. Let's see, I'm trying to think if there's something else that's really important and easy for you guys to use. If you go to calendar, This is another way that students can see what they have access to. I tried to make conference times, but for some reason my students don't see these conference times on the iPad app. So they're just going to have to email me now. But this is another way that they can see their to-do. And in inboxes, you can see emails that you received. You can email students from here or from the people page just by clicking on the student. And one thing that's interesting is I have my Canvas configured. Oh, I guess I should show you guys how to do that. So that I get notifications if a student sent me an email here. I can respond in my Outlook and it will come here. Notifications. Yeah, so if you go to account notifications, you can choose what you want to see and how frequently just by clicking these things. So they give you the option to do multiple email addresses. I'm only doing my school email address, and I think that's probably what the district wants. And you can just select what you want to see and what you want to be emailed or notified about and how frequently. Shared content. Nothing's been shared with me. Oh well. And here are some settings and more features. So yeah, if I want to go back to my English 10 prototype, I think I have to take an empty shell, but you can upload from Commons from your previous courses, and that's how you can reuse. I'll probably make a video on that later. Oh, you can import existing content. So you click here, and you can select an entire Canvas course, or I think just certain things. So I click there, I can do, I want to do this one, and I can do all content or selected, and then I can import it, and it'll come back. I'll get everything. And you can see that these are things that I've already done. So that's how you can copy a course. So if you feel like you really like what you have, just copy it, which is great. If you have an unpublished course, you just click publish. You can also change the color, move it around here, and you can even give it a nickname, and students will not see your nickname that you've given the course. So this is Canvas in a nutshell. I think I did a pretty good job of showing you how to use it. There are a lot of clicks involved, so it does take a little bit longer than Google Classroom, but overall it's pretty user-friendly, and you have a lot of options. Anything you don't know how to do, Canvas has tons of videos on, so you can look at those. I hope this was helpful.